Welcome back again, everybody, to Pro Football Enterprises. Ben Parker here, Austin Freed, Shane Ratliff. We have content all over the place, not only on this channel, on the Box Score Network. Some of us have other things that aren't necessarily even directly attached to that. Content all over the place. Hit us up in the comments. You can find out more. This is a fun show, though, okay? We're not going to go super in depth, but we're just going to go through division by division. We're going to make our picks about who's going to win that division. Then we'll curl back around and grab the wild cards one at a time for the NFC and the AFC. We are not going to trot our way to the Super Bowl tonight. Tonight it's just division winners and wild cards. In a couple of weeks, when Austin is back with us, we will make our actual Super Bowl prediction picks for these teams all the way through the entire playoffs. So again, just for fun tonight, see if I can zoom in a little bit here on this. NFC East, first off. Shane, who you got?
Top for me is Philadelphia at 14-3.
Philadelphia, 14-3. Austin.
I also have Philly. I only gave him 12 wins, though.
Yeah, I for some reason, I respect the heck out of them. They could win the Super Bowl. I've got them winning this division without much thought. I'm somewhere around 11, 12 wins. Okay, I don't necessarily know that it's going to be. We'll see. Philadelphia's going to be really good. We'll come back to them perhaps for wild cards, perhaps not. We'll save that for a minute. The NFC North, Austin.
Yeah, ended up with Detroit on top with 11 wins here for me.
Detroit was that hard for you, Austin?
No, because I respect the heck out of them. I want to put the Vikings up there. I just can't.
Shane.
I put this one as a close one, but I have Green Bay with 11.
Green Bay with 11. I've heard a lot. I listen to tons of podcasts all the time. And right now, I think about 60% of the podcasts I'm listening to have Green Bay winning this division. And they all say it's tight. I think it's very tight, but I've got Detroit winning this thing. I just have a lot of respect for Detroit. I figure maybe the offense takes a little half step back, but the defense should be better by getting all the players back, man. You got Kirby Joseph on the backside. You got Hutchinson on the front side. Decent players in between. So I like Detroit. I do think it's close, though. I think this is a division to keep an eye on, and Minnesota and Chicago are not going to be weak push-outs either. So this will be a fun division. Let's go to the South here. I think Austin. Let's get you first, man.
I got Tampa Bay with 11 wins.
Tampa Bay with 11. Shane.
I have Tampa Bay, but with 9. I think this is going to be a rough division.
I've got Tampa Bay, and this was easy for me. I think Tampa Bay's got the best defense in the division. I think they got the best offense in the division. Maybe Atlanta gives them a run, though. That's what I'm looking for. So maybe Atlanta shows up, gives them a run. For me, it was easy to put Tampa Bay in here. We'll take a little bit more time with the wild cards here in a second, but NFC West, who you got? I'm sorry, Shane.
So for me, I have a tie-in record between the Rams and San Francisco, but with the Rams coming out on the top.
Not hearing a lot of love for San Francisco this year. Shane thinks they got a chance in the division. Austin.
Yeah, San Francisco is not the best team in this division, but they are going to win the most games. They have by far the easiest schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen, and I think they're going to get to 11 wins and then get bounced early in the playoffs because they are not a 9-win team, and they're going to have this division, I think.
Yeah, Austin, I saw it the same way for that.
It's fascinating. I've got the Rams winning. I think all 4 teams in this division will not be easy to play. Got the Rams by a little bit. The San Francisco defense is what worries me. Now, I did not take probably enough of that weak schedule, Austin, into account. But the 49er defense is what's really got me worried here. So we will see. So quick wrap up here on the NFC side. 2 people like the Rams. All 3 of us like the Buccaneers. 2 of us like Detroit, with 1 liking Green Bay, and all 3 of us liking the Eagles. Let's move over to the AFC East. Shane, it's your division. We'll let you go first.
I have the Bills.
Buffalo winning this. Austin.
I got Buffalo with 12 wins.
Yeah, I didn't go deep into Buffalo's schedule. I think they're going to have a heck of a year. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure shades of what's ahead in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure I might not pick them to just take off Kansas City this year and finally get it done. I really like where Buffalo's at myself. Uh, AFC North. Austin, you're up first.
So I have both Baltimore and Cincinnati with 11 wins, and I'm gonna take Cincinnati actually.
Ooh, that's awesome. And I know why. Austin, I'm going to tease the audience. Tell them where they can find out why, because I already know why you feel that way. But let's not tell them why. Let's make them go over and find out. Tell them where they can find out your reasoning on that, though.
Yeah, on the Tricky Takes podcast last week, we did our entire AFC prediction show, and you'll find out just how bullish I am on the Bengals this year over there if you want to check that out at Tricky Takes.
Shane.
I see it the same as Austin. And I think Cincinnati, if they figure out the Trey Hendricks thing, it is there's all good reasons to be bullish on them for this year. Um, Baltimore, I think, like I said, they'll be good, but the problem lies in what they're going to pull themselves out of this situation for.
I have similar emotions for Baltimore that I do for Philly. I think they're stout. I think they could win a Super Bowl. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be as easy this year. I still pick them to win the division. But boy, I love that Cincinnati offense. I don't think Cincinnati gets enough credit for being able to stand toe to toe with Baltimore last year twice. You know, those are razor thin margins that they played twice. And but both people picking Cincinnati here. I love it. I've got Baltimore. Go to the South. Shane.
I think this is Houston, and it's by a landslide. I still only have Houston getting 10 wins, but I think this is a bad group right here.
Austin.
I'm very down on Houston. I have them with 9 wins and getting the division championship though.
I
Okay.
have
We're
10,
still
but
getting
I
it.
agree.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on anybody. For years now, we're waiting on somebody in this division to really step up and show their muscle. So, interesting division. All of us got Houston though. AFC West. Austin, let's see what you got here.
It's the Chiefs again. I gave them 13 wins, best record in football.
Shane.
I went Kansas City as well, 12-5.
All right. I've got Kansas City, but by the thinnest of margins. I do not have any faith this year in what I'm seeing in Kansas City. I think they come up with about 11 wins, win the division by a hair over the Chargers and Broncos. I think it's really close. And I think the Chiefs go out in the playoffs at some point earlier than usual. It's how I'm feeling about Kansas City. We'll tell you where later on. All right, let's do the NFC wild cards first. I'm honestly still sorting out my wild cards, but that's what we're here for is the opinions. Austin, give me your all three of your NFC wild cards, maybe one at a time.
Yeah, so the next highest amount of wins I have for a non-division winner would be the Rams. So I think they're going to get the first seed. Up next, I have the Vikings with 9 wins. And then there are a few teams who I have getting to 8 wins, but I think Green Bay does the trick and they make it in.
Who was the hardest team to leave out on this side, Austin?
Sorry, oh, hardest to leave out, you said?
Yeah,
Probably Washington. I'm a little bit down on them compared to last year, but I still think they're a very good team.
fair enough. I don't think it's easy on the NFC side. I think there's several teams that are going to be scratching and clawing for this wild card stuff. Shane, your NFC wild cards.
So for mine, I have the 49ers since I said that they tied up, but they were going to lose out to the Rams on theirs. I have the Lions at 9-8. And then just as Austin said, I have a bunch of teams that sit at 8 and 9. I picked the Bears over that group, but Washington is a hard let go. I think Minnesota's a hard one. And I think Atlanta's going to fall right into that level too. So a couple of hard picks on that last one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is tough. Shane, I'm missing still one of your wild card teams. You told me. I just don't remember who it was.
I had Niners, Lions, Bears out of that group.
Yeah, the Lions as well. So, and then Shane, you mentioned the Falcons. Were they the toughest team to leave out, or did you feel pretty good about that?
I agreed with Austin. I think Washington was the toughest one because I think Atlanta they have the ability, but I think Washington's going to have a come down this year. But when you saw what the talent lies there, that they'd be a good team to see once the playoffs roll around. But I think the Bears sneak in with that last one for me, and it'll be interested to see what they can produce um, in some of these matchups because I think their offense is going to be very interesting this year.
All right, so here's my wild cards. I actually put both the Falcons and the Commanders in, and I got the Packers in. And let's see, I think that means I left out the Bears, the Vikings, and the 49ers, right, from y'all's list. So you can see here, because we were very similar on the divisions here, but looking at the wild card board, you can see we're very different. And I think that is because these teams are not too different from each other, depending on an injury, a young guy stepping up, another guy getting a little old, a coordinator leaving. I think these teams are fighting tooth and nail. I think this is going to be a lot of fun looking at the wild cards here on this side. Austin, I'll go to you first. Final thoughts here on the NFC side, whether the divisions or the wild card group here.
Well, I learned that y'all are much higher on Atlanta than I am. I do not think Atlanta's going to be in contention for a wild card spot at all. I got them as like a 7-win team. I think they're going to be fine, but I definitely don't see them making that step up to playoff contention this year.
There is definitely a world, and it depends on Penix. It depends on that defense, in which Atlanta does just finish up with a measly 7 wins. No question. I'm a little bit higher on them based on what I've kind of been watching, but we'll see. Shane, final thought here on the NFC side.
I mean, the big thing for me on the NFC side was that the North and the West are going to be absolute battlegrounds for the teams that are in there. I think there's a lot of likable talent in those groups, and I think there's enough weaknesses on each of those teams where you go, okay, somebody's got to take control, and that's where it's going to come through. I think especially out west. I mean, Arizona could change things around. It's very difficult for me to say that on my thoughts on the Cardinals. But Seattle has a chance like that. San Francisco has enough weaknesses where they could be, the third team out west. They could be the top team out west. They could be the last team out west. It all depends on injuries and health, as it does with every team. But I think those two specifically are going to be the tough ones. I think Philadelphia is going to easily control the East, and I think also the NFC again this year.
Yeah, and listen, the Vikings were Vikings and Bears both. I could see the Bears pulling in an 8 or 9 win season if everything goes together. I'm just not quite as high on them in year one of the Ben Johnson thing. And the Vikings, I could see them if it's McCarthy, right? If the McCarthy thing hits at all, just for average, I could see them picking up 10 or 11 wins because they are loaded on offense and they've got that Brian Flores defense working for them. So, that the only thing is just, what can JJ produce there at quarterback? So, wouldn't be surprised there on the Vikings at all. Let's go to the AFC wild card here. Shane, give us your AFC wild card people.
My AFC was the Broncos, the Chargers, and then because the Bengals end up kicking out the Ravens were my third.
All right. So pulling two teams out of the West. Shane, talk to me about the West for just a second there. You've got the Chiefs winning and two more wild cards coming up.
I think that's a really good division to look into, and even Las Vegas, I have them at 8 and 9. I think they have the makings of a team that can pick up some victories. So far, again, it's preseason, but Ashton Gentry definitely changes the way that offense looks. Pete Carroll, regardless of what you think of him, does a heck of a job of keeping teams around. Are they going to be Super Bowl bound? No, I don't think there's any stretch of the imagination where that's going to be true. But he's going to win some games that other coaches are going to lose. They're going to run the ball well. They'll play defense. They have Max Crosby. They have offensive weapons. If quarterback play can continue to stay solid, they're going to win some games. I think the West is difficult. I think if Kansas City didn't have such a sour taste in their mouth from the way the last year ended, I think that this would be Denver's spot to look at. And I'm a Harbaugh guy, so the Chargers, I just don't see him letting them regress as far as some people think they might this year.
Shane, we'll come back to you in a second for final thoughts on the AFC. Austin, give me your wild cards for the AFC, man.
Yeah, so the highest wild card spot's going to be whichever of Baltimore and Cincinnati doesn't
Mm-hmm.
win. I've got Cincinnati winning, so I've got Baltimore as that first spot because I think those are whichever one of those two it is, it's going to be one of them. Up next, I'm right with you, Shane, with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to really be a really good team this year. I mean, looking at their roster, I don't really see. They just had their, one of the best offensive tackles in the league get hurt, which does hurt them. But I think they've gotten a lot better. I think they added a fantastic running back in Omarion Hampton, and I think they added a really nice complementary receiver in Trey Harris, plus re-signing Keenan Allen. Year two under Harbaugh, I think this is going to be a really successful year for them. And then in my third spot, I've actually got the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to have a really good year. I think what they did, retooling the offensive line, and defensive line, through free agency, and then attacking all of the other weaknesses through the draft really, really well. I thought they had one of the best off seasons. Year two under new coaching staff with Drake May in year two. I think this is a good year for them because I'm pretty down on the Dolphins and the Jets. So I think it's really a two-headed race out there in the East. So I think they're going to be able to scoop some easy wins off those lesser two teams and get this wild card spot.
Apologies to the audience. I've got toolbars from Excel all over the place, but I just wanted to have fun with this. This wasn't our normal kind of draft prospects, kind of a show here, but I just wanted to be able to talk about the board here and what we got going on. I've got the Broncos and Chargers in as well. Matter of fact, I was going to pick the Chargers to win the division before the Slater went down. I think it's that close between the Chiefs and the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers can take a step up. I still like them to get in the playoffs. I really do. Hardball year two and everything else they've got going on. I really like the Chargers to get in the playoffs, but I backed off of that Chiefs upset there, mainly because of the Slater going down on the left side. I like the Broncos back in the playoffs this year. I don't really see the Broncos being a big Super Bowl contender, but I do think they got a really solid team here. Could even win a playoff game. I mean, I think they could be a threat to people. And then listen, I didn't really want to put anybody in the seventh spot, to be honest. When I looked at this AFC side, I didn't want to put Cincinnati in, New England, the Dolphins, no, the Jets, no. Who else here? I was tempted to put the Raiders in, the fourth, AFC West team. I think they're going to be competitive. Nobody else from the South was I really tempted to put in. The Browns, no. Not high on the Steelers. I noticed none of us picked them to get in here. I just didn't, over on the NFC side, I'm like flocked with worthy candidates to be wild cards. And on the AFC side, I just do not have that same emotion. I mean, for me, it was Broncos easy, Chargers easy. And then, like this, I picked Joe Burrow and a terrible defense over the Raiders, who I think, will be competitive. So that's where I'm at on that. All right, Shane, let's go to you first. Anybody that was hard to leave out on the AFC side, or just final thoughts on this AFC side?
Well, I mean, I'll say as a New England fan, I'm happy to hear Austin's pull on that. I agree with what he's talking about. I just think they're maybe a year away from that. I do agree. I think Miami is going to be terrible this year. I think the Jets are still a dumpster fire. So I think that's a chance, but I think a lot of things got to go right for New England to really bump up the record to where they would be in the fight for that. You mentioned Pittsburgh. That's a quarterback thing for me. I don't think I was surprised that a team like Pittsburgh would give him a shot. They're more known for quarterbacks that are going to keep their mouth shut and try to do what they can for the team. We'll see if that works out for them. But I also thought like the AFC South is Houston and then wait around for college football because Indy is going to be bad. I think Jacksonville is not going to be great, and I don't see high hopes for Tennessee. So I think that's going to be the worst out of that group.
I got the Patriots and the Jaguars in a similar mindset as where I had the Chicago Bears. I like
Mm-hmm.
where they're going. I just wasn't ready to vault them into the playoffs this year. I'm thinking next year, I probably will be looking at all three teams taking big steps forward, depending on what they do from a personnel standpoint. Austin, final thoughts of the AFC side?
So as you've seen, I'm low on Denver this year, and just if to me it's the
Yeah.
same thing as Washington. I do think they are the next team out for me, but the they shouldn't have been playoff teams last year. They
Mm-hmm.
overperformed, and I think there's just going to be some regression. I think both teams did even, continue to improve and retool and help their case. I don't think they got a lot worse over the offseason after making the playoffs last year. I just think they overperformed and they will take a slight step back. And I think other teams are going to do enough to just keep them right out, barely out of the playoffs. I don't necessarily hate the Broncos. I just think we're going to see somewhere more in line of what we expected from them last year, rather than what we actually got from them last year.
I got to say on Washington, because obviously I put them in the playoffs, but I think you guys are spot on. They overperformed last year. That was a fantasy fairy tale ride. It was beautiful. I'm so happy for their fan base. But their talent, you look at it on the roster, did not match up to that. And, they made improvements this year, but there's still some gaping holes there to deal with. And, I think they're another off season away from truly getting back into some real competitor status there. So I like them to get in the playoffs, but I don't, I'm hearing a lot of people talk up Washington, and I'm just not sure that I feel the same way, even though I put them back in the playoffs. So that's the Commanders. All right, everybody, in a couple of weeks, we're going to come back and have some more fun with this. We're going to advance all these teams that you see, our division winners, our wild card playoffs. We're going to advance them all the way through the tournament and see who our final Super Bowl analysis will be. That's Austin Freed. That's Shane Ratliff. We really appreciate it. Go check out all of the NFL prospects we've got out there. Go check out the other playlists we've got going as well and enjoy all of that. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye.